Okay, so back at the lawn tractor, lawnmower, whatever you want to call it, flip. We're going to try to flip this, and I got it for free, and there was a lot of stuff wrong with it. We've replaced the ignition coil, we've replaced the carburetor, adjusted the valves, then we got inner tubes for the tires. I've just ordered a new spindle for the blade because this one's broke, lower deck. And then we also had a problem with a drive pulley, so this pulley kept throwing the belt, so you can probably see right there that, and it's got a flat spot on it also, so as soon as you put it in gear to drive it, the belt would fall off. I put on an aftermarket carburetor and the choke wasn't functioning correctly. It operated fine, but it just wouldn't start with the choke. It'd take forever for the gasoline to get up from the bowl of the carburetor and into the throat of the carburetor. And so what I found out is the butterfly on the carburetor had way too many holes in it. So I'll try to explain this a little bit. So this is the choke, and so when you want to choke it, you shut it. So you push the lever up, this shuts. This allows more gasoline to be fed in than air. And then when it's started, you open this back up, and then it gives an equal balance of gasoline and air. Well, if you'll notice here, there's 6 holes in this butterfly. Try to keep my fingers out of the way. And it was just putting in a lot of air. As soon as I put my fingers over this, just like that, the lawnmower would instantly start. I mean, instantly. You can see with this one, which is not correct either, this one only has 4 holes. This didn't come off of this carburetor. This is the old carburetor that came off the lawnmower. So the aftermarket had 6 holes. I had another one that had 4 holes, and the original, which is already on there, I already took it and put it on, has 2 holes. So you ever replace a carburetor with an aftermarket and the choke doesn't work, check your butterfly and simply switch it out. It's not hard to do either. Take a pair of pliers, and pull it out. Just that simple. And I'll try to get an up close shot at it. So there is a rod in here with a little slit through it, and you just slide that right into the slit. There's stops here that will stop it from going too far. The only thing you need to be aware of is that your alignment is correct, that you got it on the right side. So you kind of have to match it up. This has got a flat spot down here on the bottom, so you match up the flat spot. You got a round circle here, make sure you got that round circle there, and then you got 2 round circles over here. So you just make sure that's all lined up. So then I'm going to switch it out with this other one, which has 4 holes. Again, we're going to line it up, and you pop it back in, and that's all there is to it. All right, so another thing I want to do is I want to fix the gasket on this valve cover. It's broke and it leaks oil, and I've been trying to wait until I could figure out if this thing smoked or not, because you got to take this off if you have to replace the head gasket, which is back here. It's right here actually. So you would have to take that off and then take off your head gasket. Well, I don't see it smoking. The only thing I see smoking is the top of the muffler, because oil is dripping on it. But when you look down here where the muffler exhaust is, there's no smoke coming out of it. So I'm going to fix this gasket so it stops leaking. And this is pretty simple. You can buy a gasket, which is probably the easiest thing to do, but they cost money, probably 10 bucks. Since I'm trying to flip this, we want to make as much money as possible. So just take out the 4 bolts. Well, I should say, before you do that, we're gonna raise it up because you want the oil to go backwards. So I got my jack here, my lawnmower jack. We'll raise it up a bit. And then I'm going to put a towel here because there may be some oil that will drip down. Not always, but sometimes. Now I have done a valve adjustment on this already, and it should be in pretty good shape. So I'm not going to do it again. So here you can see that the seal, the gasket, has ripped. And like I said, the easiest thing to do is just buy a new one. But I don't want to spend the $10, so we're going to put Permatex on it and let it dry for 24 hours. So we'll take this old gasket off the best we can. Yeah, it just breaks everywhere you touch. And then I'm going to take some carb cleaner and clean it out. Take a wire brush to the edges. Try to get that gasket off. Well, no, you not try. You have to get that gasket off. So now I got it all cleaned up. I'm going to put a bead of Permatex on this. Now I'm about ready to run out in this tube.
I may not be able to use it.
And when you do it, you want to go around the holes. Get out the other tube. Here you can see that I've kind of got a bad spot. You want to make sure that you don't have any gaps like that. So I just kind of take my finger and make sure everything's spread out a little bit more evenly. You don't want to trust that when you tighten it up that it's going to squeeze in that little hole. Okay, make sure that you put the cover upside right. I know in a previous video I put it upside down, but I did make sure that the customer had it right. And the way you know, obviously, is the OHV is on, but the model number of the engine is right here, so you need to be able to read that. If it's upside down, you can't read it. So you don't tighten these all the way down. You get it until the Permatex starts to squeeze out, and then we're going to let it dry for 2 hours, and then we'll tighten it the rest of the way down. Alright, so I've set the timer and the 2 hours have passed, so I'm going to tighten this down the rest of the way. Now I'm just going to use my little screwdriver type of wrench here. It's a 3/8 bolt, and we'll do it a star pattern. I don't like over tightening these. There's no reason to. And I just worked on a job not long ago where the previous mechanic did the same Permatex thing I just did, and he tightened it so tight that it stripped out the aluminum block. So that was a mess. So I hand tighten them, that way there's no risk of over tightening it and stripping it out. Okay, I've resisted the temptation to put this on video before, but this is the third one I've bought, and they work great. This is a battery. It's not the typical lawnmower battery that everybody's used to seeing. It's very small, actually. The regular battery, I think, was 16 amps, and I think this one's 6 amps. So you can get them in, I guess this, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's 12 amps. Anyway, you can get this in 6 amps. Now, people are going to criticize me, I'm sure of it, but a couple things here. One, I'm flipping a lawnmower, and you know, we're putting a battery in it. A regular battery is $40. This is half price. The second thing is I'm only guaranteeing the lawnmower for 1 season. After that, it really is up to the owner of the lawnmower to take care of their maintenance. So I'm not, you know, guaranteeing the battery for 20 years. The other thing is typically a battery only lasts for a season or 2. So if this lasts a season or 2, then what was the point in going out and buying a big old battery? It's not running a bunch of equipment, it's not running a winch, anything like that. So why not just save some money and just use what's needed? And it fits in the compartment very nicely. I bought one of these and put it on a Polaris, and it was basically the same thing as a Polaris battery, and that did have a winch on it. So I can't imagine why it's so important to have a big old battery for your lawnmower. I think what it is they made lawnmower batteries way back in the day, and they've just never changed the style. So you put this nut in there, and it holds pretty solidly in there. You don't have to really touch it too much. And then you got this screw. Okay, and so the last thing I want to address is the seat. Obviously, it's in pretty bad shape. It's got cracks all over it. Now you can buy vinyl and glue it and do all kinds of crazy things to it and spend a fortune. If it was a John Deere seat, I might, but it's not. It's a Craftsman seat. So for $17, you can get a seat cover, and the seat cover is pretty nice. Now I'm not going to leave this on until I'm about ready to sell it, because I don't want it to get dirty and wet and everything. It has pockets, so I don't know what you can put in them, but it's all the rage in the Amazon review section. Everybody loves the pockets, and it's not hard to put on. That's basically all you got to do. It's a little big on this one. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm supposed to wrap it down. Yeah, wrap it down, and then you clip it. And for $17, you got a nice looking seat. So when the customer comes and looks at your lawnmower that you want to sell, you got it. I would like to test that battery to show you that it does work. The best I can do is I can turn on the carburetor solenoid, which I am going to do, so you know that it at least has power to it. So right here is the carburetor solenoid. So I heard it, so I hope you heard it. But I can't start the engine right now because we're still waiting for this to dry. Now when you're done with this, to make it look nice, is you just trim it up with your pocket knife along the edges. And then once that's done, I got a pressure washer over here that I'm working on. I'll use that pressure washer to clean this off really good. So if you click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on this. So hope I can inspire you to flip it when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.